I was never a large fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender or Harry Potter. I kinda skipped both of those in my youth to become an edgelord, which gradually made me into the emotional corpse of a window application I am today. Hexen Academy is Harry Potter and The Last Airbender commit a hate crime. Brought to us by Tyshawn Williams McRoy and published by Stormforge Productions, Hexen Academy is an exciting setting set after the end of the 100 Years' War between magical factions, which they'll tell you on the store page, because Hexen Academy itself is nearly devoid of a pitch page, making most of the information gleaned from the title or its own internal lore. But let's talk shop a little bit. At its absolute basics, it's a 2d6 compare system. If you memorize this chart right here, congrats, you've learned the entire core mechanic. The main gimmick is through the trait tag proficiency system. There are 3 main traits: talents, divine, and arcane magic. These are divided into particular traits, for example, talent intelligence or divine flame. Those are further divided into tags, which indicate particular actions that can take place. The basic check is going to be 2d6 plus proficiency, gained through having the right tags. However, you can string multiple tags together for a complexity penalty, but get more done with one action. So if we're doing perception search, it would be +2. But if we're doing perception search insight, it'd be +1, but we're doing 2 actions at once. And behold, you've probably realized that spells act the same way. In total, there are 72 tags to use, mixing and matching these for spells, abilities, and everything else. Pair this with your magical grimoire, and you can freely cast some of these incantations to avoid the roll. And each of these tags have a terribly named acts and action system, effectively free versus dedicated actions. Welcome to an unholy search for weird-ass combinations to string together. And if that was it, I'd say great, but it's not. Not at all. Items are entirely dedicated to this vague thing, except for armor, because welcome to dynamic damage. You have 100 HP. All items have 100 HP, and there are 2 ways to hurt someone: fix or dynamic damage. Fixed damage is as simple as it sounds. Say 5, deal 5. Dynamic works off of a resistance system. You'll take a d20 now, because d20s are in here now, versus a target's resistance, which is 1 unless they are wearing armor. You roll it, and if you beat the resistance, it explodes. If it's higher than the previous result, it explodes. Is it a 20? It explodes and doubles the final result. Manly and I, using complex mathematical formulas, realize that 420 damage is the highest possible result. If you only roll a 1 at the end of the string, of course, and this is fatal to literally everything in the game. Why is that funny? Because a ton of things do dynamic damage. But let's keep going, shall we? Because this one's a bit fun to muse about. Combat rolls are meaningless, actually, and are there for guidance, but don't actually do anything. The elemental chart looks like dog shit and is a bitch to read, but have no fear. There's no actual map for area of effect squares. Outside, square. Not a square map, squares. Your wand is also a gun, which uses miasma. Is miasma explained at all? No, it just works, and it lowers the cost of your various spells down, but you can also use it for about 3 different other things. Almost everything uses this building system of extended checks. Building items, studying, learning, anything that can use an extended check will use an extended check repeatedly. Bloat maxing is the ideal state of being, as your carry weight is double your actual weight. So playing a thin person is an active detriment to your entire being. And the races. Oh boy, the races. Because all the races are here, and none of them make sense, but let's talk about the elephant in the room, the lore, comprising over half the book in a detailed lore rundown for each of the regions, including Balos, who has airships, nuclear reactors, straight up fucking guns, and effectively are dwarf Polynesian Greek Britannians, and the other ones. That 100 Years' War is never expanded upon. Penem, for example, got occupied first, taking 1/3 of the landmass and 16% of the population. Luckily, most of their population are women and got outbred by big bloated balls. Skalo are literal actual cave people who have never invented anything beyond rock and ignored most of the war. The Atmosians are Care Bears who live in a floating magic paradise who ignored the entire wars. The elves, the Rutri and Zanians are effectively tribal monarchies that barely work with one another and got fucking blasted at the start of the war because they're the fucking Sentinel Islands against the full might of nuclear Greco-Britain. And Balos starts with the exploding cock technique to turn any object into a bomb and light anything on fire. The lore is nuts in a bad way, the kind where you read it and keep looking into it and wonder what the fuck is going on. Well, you must have not read very deeply into it then. Yeah, I didn't, because the entire book is formatted like shit. Holy fuck. It just throws information at you. It never actually provides any context to what you're doing most of the time, because you don't learn about Hexen Academy until page 97, which most of it is NPCs, including Best Girl Rosa, which asks further question how in 25 years cave people have names like Carlos and the fucking Care Bears have Susan. The entire game becomes a malaise of words more than anything. At the very end of the book, he gets and then the adventure continues, and that's really it. Do I recommend Hexen Academy? Fuck no. It's a messy, the worst kind of messy, where we spent most of the time making fun of the fuck storyline rather than realizing the entire game is 2d6 plus 3 at best. The best I can say to this is cannibalize it for parts, or hope they update the layout to make it more useful. My name is Notepad, and this was Hexen Academy. If you like what I do, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and many thanks to the Wizard Kings of the Forgotten Tower of Babel for continuing to fund my destruction of the waking world. Godspeed, good luck, and remember, Balos did nothing wrong.
Doesn't matter what you've heard, 'cause I'm the motherfucking wizard.